Hello, math students. To get ready for our next unit and to review for the forward exam, we're going to talk today about graphing lines, graphing equations in slope-intercept form. We've already done a whole graphing unit. We just kind of need to refresh everybody's memory before we move on. So if I give you an equation like number 1, we want to be able to find the slope and the y-intercept, and then once we have those two pieces of information, we should be able to graph it. So if you'll remember, slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. Right, the b is where we begin. That's the y-intercept. So we're always going to start on the y-axis. The m, it's the slope. That's how we move. And then I was going to write move. It's the slope that we need to know. And remember, slope is always rise over run. So this is where I'm going to say, whoever decided in math to tell you how to graph ordered pairs and then how to graph slope was just trying to be mean, I think. Ordered pairs, you go sideways first, then you go up and down. Slope, you go up and down first, and then you go sideways. Remember, slope, we talk about things like, is it going uphill or downhill as we go from left to right? So the number that's in front of the x is always the slope. And the number that's being added or subtracted, it might look like at the end, that's always going to be my y-intercept. And today, every line that we're going to graph is in slope-intercept form. So for number 1, in this problem, my slope is -3/4. That's the number that's in front of the x. And the y-intercept, it is positive, so it's just going to be at 2. So that means on the y-axis, I'm going to begin at 2. And since my slope is a -3/4, that means it's going downhill. So instead of going up 3 and right 4, I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. Remember, going down is negative, going right is positive. I only want one of my things to be negative, because if I do 2 negative things, that turns into a positive. So I can do that a couple of times. I could go down 3 more and over 4. And you know me, I'm going to try to get points all the way to the edge of the graph. But if I want to get points going the other direction, I still need a negative slope, but I have to go up 3. That means I'm going to go left 4. So there are my points. You would be able to use some kind of a straight edge. I just have to do my very best to freehand this. There's my first line. Second line. What do we do when we don't see a slope? If I don't see a number in front of the x, you know that there can be a 1 right there. So my slope is 1, or I could even write it as a fraction, 1 over 1. My y-intercept, remember, should be adding right here. So this is really a -4. So that means I'm going to start, I'm going to begin on the y-axis at -4. And my slope is +1. So up 1, right 1. Oh, I messed up. Trying to go too fast. My alignment might be off just a little bit as well, so I'll do my very best. And I probably did mess up somewhere in there with such little bitty squares and so many of them. Sorry for the bell. So there's my y-intercept, and my slope is +1. In this one, I have a positive slope again, but it's a 1/2 slope. Remember, that means up 1 over 2, so rise over run. And my slope, or my y-intercept, I'm sorry, is -3. So we're starting at -3. My slope is a +1/2, so it's got to go uphill, up 1 over 2. Or down 1 and left 2. So there's my line. One more. Hopefully at this point you would be able to look at this and say that my slope is going to be a -1/3. My y-intercept is a +4, which means I'm starting at 4, and I have a positive or a negative 1/3 slope, which means down 1 and right 3. Or up and left. And there's my line. Okay, so I hope that was a good enough review of how to graph if we have slope-intercept form. Today's worksheet that you're going to have is catching zombies. So you're going to be graphing lines and finding where two lines cross on the same zombie, and then you catch them. We're going to do the first one together so you can see what I mean on this. And there is going to be a learning check in Schoology. The learning check is going to be from this worksheet, so I need you to graph very, very, very accurately. You can't just kind of get 2 or 3 points and freehand a line. I need you to use a straight edge because, let me show you what this is going to look like. There it is. This is what the worksheet looks like. It's not a great image, and some of the vertical lines didn't show up when I took the screenshot of it. But the first one that we're doing is A, which you can see on the screen right now, y equals 1/2 x minus 5, and the other equation is y equals negative 1/3 x plus 12. To be able to graph more accurately, I put some lines on here that I can just move around, but you would be just sketching some points, and I'll probably sketch some points also to get a start on each of these. For the first line, so I'm going to graph both of these lines. You may want to use different colors for different pairs of lines because you're going to end up with lines all over this worksheet. And some of the zombies are going to get multiple lines that are going over them, but I'm looking for where the pair of lines for A, for instance, cross on the same zombie. So for my first equation, I'm starting at -5, which is right here. And I've got a 1/2 slope, which means up 1/2. And this is where it's going to be going across this zombie. So I would keep getting some more points either way, and then you would use a straight edge. So you can see this line would also go back here to hit another zombie on this side. So I'm going to take one of my lines. I'm going to put the end of it right on that point. I'm going to take this one. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry. Give me 1 second. There we go. I need my line. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put my line here on this point, and then I'm going to grab this end, and we're going to extend it. So there's my line. So this line is touching 3 different zombies. Now, the second line starts at +12, right here, and I have a negative 1/3 slope, so down 1/3. Okay, so you can see the direction it's going there. I could also go up and let's see here, 1, 2, 3. So again, this line is going to touch multiple zombies. But when I start my line over here and extend it through those points, the zombie that touches, that I have both of those lines intersecting, where they cross, is that zombie. I don't know what you want to call that zombie. But in Schoology, there'll be a picture of that zombie, and you have to match it up to say that the problems from A hit that zombie. So that's what caught it. And again, you can see that these lines are going to touch a whole bunch of zombies as you're graphing them. So you have to be really careful and pay attention to which which zombie gets caught by a pair of lines. That's why different colors might be helpful if you want to do it that way. Or as soon as you get this one and you know this zombie is caught, you could go into Schoology and put down that this zombie was for line A or for group A. So that's what you're doing today. You have several problems in there, but lots of lines to graph. So we're practicing those lines and being very, very, very accurate. If you get an answer and you're not sure what it means, feel free to send me a picture of it. Let me know if you need any help. And I'm here if you need me.